All right.
Yes, sir.
So we are discussing the atmospheric thermodynamics. And as I said, today I think our ninth class. Maybe we have had eight class so far, and today is our ninth class, right? And we discussed in the last class about the gas laws. And as I said, since atmosphere is fluid composed of many gases, so the atmospheric motion is governed by the laws of hydrodynamics and the thermodynamics. And as I said in the last class, this thermodynamics is exactly the same as you have studied in your BSc. But here we shall discuss it once again from the point of view of its application, okay, to atmospheric science, right? And in that regard, we discussed about or we reviewed about the different laws of the gas, like equation of state, okay, the Boyle's law, the Charles law, the Avogadro's hypothesis, the Dalton's law, etc. Then we also talked about the virtual temperature. You remember we talked about the virtual temperature. Do you remember? Can somebody can somebody define what is the virtual temperature? Virtual temperature. Can somebody define what is the virtual temperature? Last time we discussed that. What is the virtual
The temperature of the dry air when I think the volume of dry air and the moisture become the same.
what is that?
Sir, am I audible?
Say again, you are not audible to me clearly. The temperature of the dry air?
At which I think the density or the volume of moist air and dry air become equal.
Yeah, actually the thing is, because the air also have water vapor, right? And so the gas constant of the moist air containing water vapor can vary, right? And it depends upon how much is the moisture content in the air. Whereas the gas constant of the dry air remains constant. So, in order to have a convenient gas constant for a mixture of dry and moist air, we try to use the dry air gas constant but adjust the temperature, right? And that temperature is slightly greater than the temperature of the dry air or the ambient air, okay? And that is called the virtual temperature, right? Remember, we had discussed this in detail in the previous class, and we also derived an expression how to compute the virtual temperature, right? If you remember clearly. If you recall it, uh, you will remember if you see the previous lecture, then the virtual temperature is given by this expression. TV is approximately is equal to T plus T into 1 plus 0.61 W, where W is the mixing ratio. Okay, so this is the virtual temperature. C is always greater than the T. Okay, T is the ambient temperature. T is the ambient temperature, and W is the mixing ratio. Mixing ratio. We shall talk about this later on. But mixing ratio is basically the ratio of the dry air, mass of the dry air, divided by the mass of the water vapor. Okay, that is the mixing ratio. So we also mentioned in the last class that there are many types of temperature that we utilize in meteorology or in atmospheric science for various purposes, and we listed them. I told you that you should try to read the definition of all these kinds of temperature, like ambient temperature, the dry bulb temperature, the wet bulb temperature, right? The dew point temperature, the virtual temperature, the potential temperature, okay, the equivalent temperature, the equivalent potential temperature, and so on. Okay, so many types of temperatures are used for different purposes now in meteorology, and you should know their definition. Okay. So that's what we discussed in our last class, and today we are going to talk about the hydrostatic equation. Hydrostatic equation. Okay. Well, have you heard about the hydrostatic equation? Any of you before? Hydrostatic equation. Yes or no?
No.
No? Okay. See, now all of you know that atmosphere has a mass, right? Atmosphere has a mass because it is composed of fluid. Yeah, a mixture of different gases. So if the atmosphere is having a mass and Earth has a gravity, right? Earth has a gravity. So why the atmosphere is not pulled down by the gravity? Why does not the atmosphere collapse completely? Can any of you explain to me? Because the atmosphere has a mass and Earth has a gravity, so why the atmosphere is not pulled down to the surface? Can somebody explain? Can somebody explain? Because anything which has a mass is supposed to fall down to the surface, right? Yes or no? Anything which has a mass, according to the law of gravity, okay, Newton's law of gravitation, it is supposed to be attracted by the Earth's surface and is supposed to fall down. So, atmosphere does not collapse. Why? Just think. Anybody? Everybody is silent. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just think why the atmosphere is not pulled down to the ground despite it having a mass. Not sure?
Sir, I can guess, sir.
Yeah, guess.
Sir, when we are actually taking our atmosphere, we take it as a large amount of fluid when in equations, sir.
Uh-huh.
And if we take atmosphere as a fluid, so fluid it is upwards the earth, so it is like a fluid that is above the earth, and fluid has different layers.
Okay. So anyway, anybody else? Anybody else? Let's try.
Density, to the density, lower density.
Okay, anybody else? Switch on your video when you are trying to guess or trying to explain. Switch on your video so that others can see you. Anybody else guess? Deepak?
Sir,
Yeah, can you guess? Switch on your video.
Sir.
Can you guess?
I actually have no idea, sir. I think maybe the atmosphere is, less dense than the air beneath it, so it floats above.
Okay.
Sir,
so
can I?
is the question clear? No, it is not correct. Is the question clear?
Yes, sir. Question is
Okay.
clear.
Okay, good. Now let me ask another person. Is
Sir, can I?
Devasis is there? Who is that? Yeah, you try. Who is that?
Yes, sir.
Switch on your video. Switch on your video.
Yes, sir.
Why I'm not able to see you?
My video is on, sir.
Oh, your video is on? Okay, maybe it is blocked by my screen. Maybe.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Devasis, yes. Yeah. tell me.
Sir, the atmosphere is indeed pulled by the gravity of the Earth.
Yes.
The molecules are pulled, but because they are squeezed tighter on the ground. So when we go from the ground to the top, the density decreases, but the molecules can all be totally pulled together. So because of the intermolecular force, because it is a gas, they as we go higher up in the altitude, the density of the atmosphere decreases.
Well, they have attempted a little bit, but not still no perfect. Okay, I'll explain. Let me ask one or two more students. Who can attempt? No, Barsa, can you attempt? Barsa.
Yes, sir, I was actually thinking of the same thing that since all the particles are closely packed together, so
Mhm.
they exert a pressure that is upwards and gravity is downwards. So in both of them balance together, and so the atmosphere is held at a place.
Yeah, slightly more closer to the answer. Okay, now let me explain. Okay, or anybody wants to try? Anjali, are you there? Can you
Yes,
try?
sir.
Yeah, can
I
you
don't
try?
know, sir.
Huh?
I don't know.
No, you don't know. Okay, now let me explain. See, the Earth gravitational force always try to pull towards the ground, right? So if something is hanging up, that means there must be another force which is in balance to the gravitational force, right? Then only it can hang up. And that force is called the pressure gradient force. Pressure gradient force. Now you know that the pressure decreases as you go above, right? Pressure decreases as you go above the ground, isn't it? So whenever there is a high pressure and there is a low pressure area, then the pressure gradient develops from high pressure toward the low pressure. The direction of the pressure gradient force is always from the high pressure to the low pressure. So since the pressure is high at lower altitude and less at the higher altitude, so the pressure gradient is always towards upward. The pressure gradient force is always towards upward, whereas the gravitational force is always towards downward. So if the atmosphere is not collapsing to the ground, that means these two forces are balancing with each other, right? That means these two forces are balancing with each other, right? Pressure gradient force is balanced by the gravitational force, and this balance is called the hydrostatic balance. What is it called? Hydrostatic
Hydrostatic balance.
hydrostatic balance, exactly. But whether hydrostatic balance is true in all situations, under all circumstances, whether it is valid in all circumstances, it may not be valid in all circumstances. Right? Generally, the hydrostatic balance is supposed to be valid for the large scale atmosphere. For the large scale atmosphere, it is supposed to be valid. But say, for example, if you have a cyclone, now we have got a cyclone Nivar, which hit the coast of Tamil Nadu last night. You've got a cyclone, right? Or you have got a severe thunderstorm. Now, in such situations, there is a very strong upward motion, right? There is a strong updraft, we call. In the severe thunderstorms or the deep cumulonimbus clouds, there is a strong upward motion, right? In the cyclone also there is a very strong upward motion, and there is also a downward motion also there. So in that case, there is a transport of the mass from lower to the upper atmosphere because of the updrafts or upward motion, right? And in such situation, the hydrostatic balance is not valid, is no longer valid, and therefore you will study in your dynamic meteorology class, the atmospheric dynamics or dynamics of the atmosphere. You will study that when the hydrostatic balance is not valid, then how the vertical component of the equation of motion, how it looks like, what are the additional terms in that vertical component of the equation of motion. You are studying the atmospheric dynamics, right? Madam is taking you the atmospheric dynamics. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And how far you have reached in that subject? Which topics he is teaching right now? which topics she is teaching right now presently, which topics she has covered in dynamic meteorology. Tell.
So she's
The
teaching
basic-
advection.
Huh?
She's teaching advection now, sir.
and Newton's laws with
Okay,
according to
Newton's
this.
law, right. So equations of motion, etc. Has she started? Not yet?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just the introduction, right?
Okay, just introduction. Well, I mean, you will study those things in detail. The equations of motion. Basically, it is again the laws of motion given by Newton. Newton's laws of motion. I mean, the whole entire equation of motions are based upon the Newton's law of motion, right? And you will study that when you have the momentum equation, the laws of motion. Then there are three components of the momentum equation. One is the zonal component, the east-west component. The other is the meridional component, the north-south component. And third is the vertical component. Okay. So the vertical component of the motion, when you study, you will see the equation. Equation is quite big. But because of the hydrostatic assumption, that equation reduces down to just two terms that you shall study later on. Okay. And that is called the hydrostatic equation. So we shall now see the hydrostatic equation here. Okay, hydrostatic equation also here, because it's also important to know in the physics of the atmosphere. There are many things which are related to the hydrostatic equation. Okay. So as we discussed, air pressure at any height in the atmosphere is due to the force per unit area exerted by the weight of all the air lying above that height. Okay. Consequently, atmospheric pressure decreases with increasing height above the ground. Everybody knows that. The net upward force acting on a thin horizontal slab of air due to the decrease in atmospheric pressure with height is generally very closely in balance with the downward force due to gravitational attraction that acts on the slab. That's what we said, that the upward force acting upwards because of the pressure gradient is balanced by the gravitational force. Attraction. Okay. If the net upward force on the slab is equal to the downward force on the slab, the atmosphere is said to be in hydrostatic balance. Okay. We will now derive an equation for the atmosphere in hydrostatic balance. Okay. Now consider a vertical column of air with a unit horizontal cross section as in this figure. Okay. Here it shows, this figure shows you have got a vertical column of the air. Okay. Of unit horizontal cross section, unit area. Okay. In this figure. Now the mass of air between the height, say Z, and Z plus dz. Okay, the mass of air in this slab is equal to rho times del Z, because the area is unit cross section. So the mass is rho times del Z, where rho is the density of the air. Okay. The downward force acting on this slab of air due to the weight of air is 0 delta Z. Okay, because the mass of the air above the slab is acting as a downward force, and which is equal to the mass of the air above, which is 0 times delta Z. Okay, where G is the acceleration due to gravity, rho is the density, and delta Z is the this thin depth of the air, slab of the air. Okay. Now let us consider the net vertical force that acts on the slab of air between Z and Z plus dz. Okay, this is Z, this height is Z, and this is the delta Z. Okay, due to the pressure of air surrounding air. Okay, so in this diagram, see these blue arrows. One is acting downwards, another is acting upwards. Okay. The blue arrows in this figure indicate the downward force exerted on the air in this shaded slab due to the pressure of the air above the slab. Okay, this blue arrows are the downward forces exerted by the air above this slab. Okay. The longer blue arrows, that means these arrows, the longer blue arrows indicate the upward force on the slab, shaded area of the slab, due to the pressure of the air below the slab. Okay, because of the pressure of the air below the slab, there is the upward force which is acting on the slab, indicated by these blue arrows acting upwards. So the net upward force due to the pressure, which is difference because of the minus delta P, is indicated by the upward pointing thick black arrow. This one, this thick black arrow. Okay, this is the net upward force. This thick black arrow acting upwards. Okay, because the incremental pressure change delta P is a negative quantity, minus delta P is positive. Okay. The downward pointing arrow, the downward pointing thick black arrow, this one, okay, is the force acting on the shaded slab due to the mass of the air in this slab. Okay. So for an atmosphere in hydrostatic balance, the balance of forces in the vertical requires that minus delta P is equal to G rho delta Z. Okay. The mass of the air, this is the mass of the air as we discussed, and this is the pressure gradient force. So in the limit, as delta Z tends to 0, we can write delta P divided by delta Z is equal to minus 0. Okay, delta P divided by delta Z is equal to minus 0. And this is called the hydrostatic equation. It's called the hydrostatic equation. Delta P by delta Z is equal to minus 0 is the hydrostatic equation. Okay. Note that the negative sign in this one equation ensures that the pressure decreases with increasing height. Okay. The negative sign is because pressure decreases as we go up, as the height increases. Because rho is the density which is the reciprocal of a specific volume, alpha. Alpha is the specific volume. So this equation we can write as G delta Z equal to minus alpha dP. Okay, G delta Z is equal to minus alpha dP. So this is also the hydrostatic equation. If the pressure at the height Z is Pz, we have from equation 1 have a fixed point on the earth. We just increase total pressure. That means we have to integrate this equation. Okay, integrate this equation from Pz to the infinity, to the top of the atmosphere, where the pressure is 0, is equal to Z to infinity. So we are just integrating this equation. Okay. Or because P at infinity at the top of the atmosphere is 0, pressure at the top of the atmosphere is 0, so we can write Pz is equal to integration from Z to infinity 0 dz. So the total pressure of air at any height Z is equal to the integrated mass, 0 del Z is the mass of air in that column from Z to infinity, to that level. Okay, entire column pressure. That is, the pressure at height Z is equal to the weight of the air in the vertical column of unit cross-sectional area lying above that layer. Okay. Now, if the mass of the atmosphere were distributed uniformly over the globe, retaining the Earth's topography in its present form, the pressure at sea level would be 1.013 into 10 to the power 5 pascals, or we call it simply in terms of hectopascal or millibar, 1013 millibar hectopascal, which is referred to as 1 atmosphere. Okay, this is referred to as 1 atmosphere. So 1 atmosphere is also the unit of the pressure in a standardized atmosphere. this pressure is called the 1 atmosphere. Okay, 1013 hectopascal or 1013 millibar. Okay, so that is about the hydrostatic equation. Now, related to that is another important parameter called geopotential, which is very, very important. Okay, for many purposes in meteorology or atmospheric science, we use this geopotential. Okay, but I'm thinking that we should stop here today, because again, geopotential will take some time to discuss or explain. And we are already, I think, almost 125. So we will discuss the geopotential in tomorrow's class. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the geopotential, again, it requires some explanation and it will take some time. So I've got only hardly 5-7 minutes left. So better we discuss tomorrow for continuity. Okay. So any question? Anybody has any question so far? No?
No, sir.
Okay, that means everything is clear. All right. I see that only 14 students are there still, whereas we have got 17 students in the class admitted so far. So still 3 students are not there. I don't know why they are not regular. Probably, I think Sangram Maharana is missing. Is Sangram there? I think he is not there. Mrityunjay Sethi, are you there? Mrityunjay Sethi? No, you are also not there. Ayaz Khan. Ayaz Khan, are you there? No. So I think these 3 students are absent today. Rest are present. Is there anybody left who is absent and who is attendance we did not mark in the beginning? Is there anybody left out? No? Okay. So in that case, we shall stop today's class. I shall stop the recording. Okay.
Sir, I'm
Yeah.
Abhishek. I joined a little bit late.
Oh, I see, I see. Okay, you joined a little bit late. All right. So can you just switch on your video, Abhishek?
Can you
Switch
see
on
me,
your
sir?
video. Yeah, okay. So fine. Anybody else who joined late today? Anybody else who joined late today? No. So fine. So that means all attendance are made for today.